Hello shooters, thanks for watching Tie Iron Channel. Today's episode of Man vs. Handgun is the Taurus PT111 9mm subcompact.
Man versus gun.
Buddy of mine named Pete let me borrow this PT111 to review today. Shout out to Pete, thank you for letting me borrow your handgun. Let's get right into it. The width on the Taurus PT111 G2 is 1.185 right here, measured to safety. So it's a very thin handgun. If you just measure it, you know, just the flat part of the gun itself up here, it's, you know, less than an inch, which makes it very, very concealable. It's a flat handgun, 1.185 inches. Let's see what the weight is on this puppy. The weight is going to be 1 pound 6 ounces, so 22 ounces overall. So it's going to get a 5 in weight and a 5 in width. It's really lightweight. And it is really thin. Just for the heck of it, we're going to measure it against our standard, which is the Glock 17. And that's 1.11 ounces, 1 pound 11 ounces. So this little G2. So the PT111 G2 plus 11 rounds equals the same as a Glock 17 empty. With the pinky extension mag, it feels, you know, I got all fingers on there, got a full grip. I gave it a 4 for a service size handgun. It does get a 5 for a concealed carry handgun, and I gave it a 2 as a pocket gun. It's still just a little bit too big for a pocket gun unless you've got some really big pockets. The receiver is made out of plastic. I upgraded at one point. There's a couple things on the receiver I really do like. I really like these little indents here, these little index points. They're perfect for trigger finger and also for the offside thumb. I wish the trigger guard was undercut a little bit. It's almost got that Glock hump to it. I can feel it when I grab the gun. I can feel it right here, just like I feel a stock Glock. Were this to be my handgun, I would undercut that trigger guard just a little bit, and it would really improve the ergonomics of the gun. The back strap, I gave it a 4. It's got a good design. It's non-adjustable, so it doesn't get any points for that. The side panels and the back strap, they have good texturing. It's good texturing, and the texturing is where it belongs, which is right down here in the grip area, and it's not where it doesn't belong, which is right in here and right underneath the trigger guard there. So Taurus did a good job on the texturing of this handgun. It feels it doesn't feel slippery. Your fingers can grab onto that. It's got some good texturing there. Side panels are a good design. They're non-adjustable. Trigger pull on this. It does have second strike capability. I think that's a waste of engineering. Some people may like it. There's quite a bit of take-up. And the spring that is for the safety there is kind of stiff. That does contribute to the trigger pull. On average, the trigger pull I got on this, the single action trigger pull, not the double strike trigger pull, is almost 8 pounds. Kind of heavy. Kind of gritty. Take up is kind of gritty. Then you have the wall, and then it breaks. The reset, though, is pretty short. Pretty short reset. After the gun breaks in, it will have a better reset. Right now, it's pretty new, and there's creep on the reset, like there is with a lot of guns when they're new. The trigger will get better with rounds, but it's still going to be a little bit too heavy. I don't think it's ever going to get below 7 pounds. It's almost 8 pounds right now. It may get, you know, right close to 7. I like them, you know, a couple pounds lighter than that, but at least it's the same every time, so it gets maximum points for the same trigger pull every time. on the single action. Double strike trigger pull I don't give a rip about, so I'm not even gonna mention that. If I come up and I get a click and no bang, I eject the bad round. I don't give it a second chance. The magazine well is just barely flared. I mean, they just put enough of a flare on there to advertise that they probably did get a flared magazine well, but it's not flared much at all. I gave it 2 points for magazine well flaring. The magazine is of good design. It's a full capacity magazine. It's the same size as other magazines. Of this is like a Smith & Wesson compact, or you know, something like that. This does hold 10 rounds of 9mm. So it's a full capacity magazine for its size. It's steel. The base plate is one-hand manipulation friendly. It's got a little bit of a hook there, which does aid in one-hand manipulations. It got a 4 out of 5 there. And the ease of seating is a 5 out of 5. Steel mags on polymer handguns always really easy to seat. The magazine does go in slightly more than what it needs to. That helps. So it does get a 5 for ease of seating. Magazine release, I gave it a 4. It's a little bit small. I'd like it a little bit bigger. A little bit bigger would give it a 5. The location is a 4. It's only on one side. You can switch it from left to right, but that doesn't matter because it's only going to be on one side anyway. So no points with regards to mirror image. The safety, I don't even consider this to be a safety at all. Were this my gun, I would always carry it safety off, because you've got a plenty long and hard enough trigger pull as your primary safety there. So with regard to this being a safety, it's a 4. I gave it a 4 because that thing's kind of hard to manipulate with your trigger finger. That safety thing is. But it is in a perfect location right there on the trigger, and it is the exact same whether you're shooting right or left-handed. So we got the safety out of the way there. Slide catch. I gave the slide catch design a 4. It flares out just a bit. You can see it here. I think it flares out just a bit too much. It doesn't need to flare out quite as much as it does. Location's a 4. I shot about 80 rounds through this, and never once did my thumb stop the slide release from catching the slide. So it didn't get in the way, but it was very easy on a mag to just hit that and have it go home. Whether I was using that thumb or using the support thumb, it worked really well. So the slide catch and release, I got a 4 for design, 4 for location. It is only on one side though, so there's no points for being mirror image. The rear sight. The rear sight is adjustable for elevation and all for windage, which, you know, is a good thing. But I do not like the sight picture of the rear sight. I don't like the, you know, this part of the rear sight sticks up more than this part of the rear sight. So the rear sight has ledges, and I don't like it. It's kind of distracting. I wish these either should come up all the way. That's what they should do. They should come up and match that, so you don't have like 2 different elevations for the rear sight. So I downgraded it would get an upgrade on the points because they are adjustable, but I downgraded it because the sight picture, which you use a heck of a lot more than you would use the adjustability, I downgraded the rear sight to a 3. And it is just barely one-hand manipulation friendly, just a little teeny bit of a ledge there to grab onto with anything. But it does work, just doesn't work as good as other things, so that's why it got a 3. Front sight, I gave it a 4. It's a little bit squat. It is steel, so that's a good thing, but it is squat. So I gave it a 4. There is a light rail on it with 1 notch, so it gets a 3. Another 2 notches, which you can't do on it. No compact gun's going to get a 5 for a light rail. They're all going to get a 3 because they only have room for 1 spot there. And this is not optics compatible. There is one design feature that, you know, Ruger and a bunch of people have this that I think is a waste of engineering, and that is this this loaded chamber indicator thing. The only way for you to know if there's a round in the chamber is to look. There could be dirt in this channel holding this thing up. So do not trust these things. I wish guns didn't have these mechanical devices like that, because you can't trust them. When it's up, all you can determine is that it's up. That doesn't mean there's a round in the chamber. Could be dirt in that channel. So do not trust those things. They're just they're a waste of engineering, waste of time. Manufacturers still put them on there, but that doesn't mean they're any good. So let's go to the range and shoot this little thing. Okay, you can tell with the snow flying that it was kind of a cold day. My fingers didn't work quite as well as they would have on a warm day, and those little mag loaders, those up lulas, are worth their weight in gold. I love those little things. Here I'm testing out the take up. It's got a long tape up. I wanted to find out exactly where the wall was before I touched off a live round, and I wasn't. I was pleasantly surprised with how mild the recoil was. With some little guns, they're not any fun to shoot. In fact, this PT740, a single stack 40, about this same size that I tested before, wasn't any fun at all to shoot. This wasn't unpleasant at all. It was a nice little gun to shoot. Recoil wasn't punishing at all. It was soft shooting. It was accurate. It worked 100% of the time. I shot almost 100 rounds through it. Most of them were my reloads, but some of them were factory loads too. Yeah, it wasn't unpleasant to shoot at all. I was very pleasantly surprised. I enjoyed shooting it. Some guns you test, you think, crap, I can't wait till I'm done testing this, but this wasn't one of them. This was a fun little gun to shoot. Okay, final thoughts on the PT111. I was actually pleasantly surprised. I did a review on the Taurus single stack and didn't have a lot of good to say about that. It hurt my finger to shoot. This is a completely different little animal. It's almost the same thing internally, but it's a little bit wider, a little bit more refined. As far as durability, who knows how long this thing will hold up, but this is a $200 handgun, or slightly over, slightly less, depending upon where you are, what kind of sale you can find it on. For the money, this is a great little value in a handgun. If somebody buys a Taurus PT111, they're probably not going to put 6,000-7,000 rounds through the gun. I put just under 100 rounds through the gun, ran flawlessly with everything I put through it. It was pleasant to shoot. Trigger pull is a little bit hard, but hey, $200 handgun. If that's what your budget is, you really ought to consider the PT111 from Taurus. Good little gun for the money. Don't expect it to be the same as like an HK or a Glock or a Smith & Wesson or a CZ, but it's not the same price as those either. Thank you for watching. Appreciate all the shares, likes, and subscribes. If you have a Taurus PT111, post your experiences with it below. I thought it was a pretty decent little handgun. And as always, ensure that your training and your practice is preparing you for the real world, your real world, and not for the fantasy land of the shooting range. And have a nice day.